narcissistic. I know I need to rebrand a little bit and maybe change it. But besides the fact that I just don't really have time to do that, I really like it. Anyway, I wanted to make this quick video because I wanted to just address a few things, but I didn't want to make a whole live stream out of it. So, at least for this first part anyways, no disrespect meant, but I do want to just clear something up, especially for one person up on panel there. But let me share this quick little bit from Queen Bee's recent stream.
Like she was just gangsters all get out.
What, Molly?
No,
Veda.
Oh
God.
Yeah.
Well,
she just.
Well, I mean, I think Veda is basically realizing the money is to be ridiculous and outrageous and just spread lies, and that's what she's planning on doing. That's her. Oh, that's not going to boil.
At the cemetery. That's it. That's it. No, she told us she did it.
Jesus.
Thank you, B. Tim. Thank you, B. Tim, for attempting to clarify an obvious misrepresentation of the truth by Boston there. I see what you did, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it for Veda's behalf, but really just on the behalf of the truth, I appreciate it.
Veda, yep, games. Veda's not getting, like, look at the people that are claiming to be gangster. Like, are you serious? Molly Golightly, EKC, and Veda. I'm really scared. If I saw these.
Has EKC really? I don't think she really acts like that, does she?
Well, she was on that panel and she was like confirming that. I mean, I don't think she acts gangster.
Pretty sure you've been up on panel with quite a few people too that you would not appreciate the comparison to in terms of behavior. I just want to point that out. Though I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not gangster. God, that just sounds so fucking wrong coming out of my mouth. I don't know why. Though I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not. I am also not going to sit here and put on some sort of bravado that I am. Because after all, the truly gangster ones don't need to show it.
Well, I mean, she did. She was on that panel, but I'm just saying, like, otherwise, like, you know how Molly said, like, I'm from the Bronx, I fight my way out every day. I had a fight every day.
I get you.
And then you know how like Veda was acting like super tough on here. I guess maybe if EKC's done that, I've never seen. I just haven't seen it. You know what I mean?
You got a point.
I think the most toughest I've ever behaved on stream is, and that wasn't even on stream. I don't think. No, that wasn't. That was in a post. It was an anti-vaxxer who mentioned coming up to my house. She lived in a different state, and I remember thinking, well, that would be hilarious. I would love to see that happen, but I don't want to encourage it or incite it because then I'm just as guilty as she is. And I don't want to be like that. But I just simply said, you're more than welcome to do whatever you like. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And just left it at that. Like, that's about as gangster as I get. Though I will say this much, and I've said this to Nonsense before. If anyone ever wants to test that and think they're man enough to test that, I don't call the cops. So you can rest assured that won't happen.
I don't think
like acting tough. I'm just saying, she did say some nasty shit about Rabbit. I get that. You know what I mean? That was wrong as hell. But I'm just saying, like,
did I though? Think about it. All I said was, yeah, I've heard some of these things too. That's what I said. I didn't say what I heard. I didn't say what it was I was referencing. I was having a conversation with a friend, for granted, in public on a panel. Sure, I get you there. But nonetheless, that's what I said. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's true. I have heard some of the things that were mentioned and then some. But I also know that it's just things I've heard. This is why I'm not going out and I'm not saying definitively what it is I've heard on a panel or help spreading any potential bullshit. Though some of it, I really am of the belief it's not bullshit, but that's not even like really damning shit. It's just typical shit. But well, no, one thing's maybe a little damning. But either way, my whole point is I didn't say anything. I just agreed with someone that I've heard some of the same shit too. That's what I said. And I think I'm of the right to say that. But we can agree to disagree. I just want to point out that everyone's fallible. Everyone is, including her. I hope you realize that.
as far as like acting like these guys. You know how Molly and
Yeah, tough talk.
I got
Yeah,
you.
she kind of
You're
stays
right.
in the middle a little more. EK,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, she does.
Stop being honest. Too honest. You're too nice to these people. God damn it, Queen.
Why do you want to be mean?
yeah, I forgot I'm supposed to be telling lies about them and
Yeah, you're supposed to be
making it up and you know.
Yeah, you're not supposed to actually try to stick to the facts and be like,
You're right, Tim.
fucking Christ. Unbelievable, Queen. Unbelievable.
This girl's got a bitch. If I have a mental problem, then you need to be in an insane asylum. And by the way, Kathy, we didn't lie about that call. We never said that we called the medical examiner. We never said that we called the medical examiner.
Being a reporter myself, not really, I'm not a reporter, just, someone just trying to verify. We contacted and we confirmed it with a medical examiner. We confirmed it with the coroner. We contacted the.
Well, see, I kind of see what she's saying there. She's just going through a list of people that they called. She's not saying that this call in particular is that particular office, though. It's a moot argument I think I'm making here because they did say that it was this office. Then they said it was this office when it was neither office and it was actually a funeral home. I can see people's confusion there. My problem, though, what I wanted to point out was in the terms of another content creator making a video about this, trying to brandish someone as a liar when she didn't even bother to reach out to the people on stream to confirm anything. She just heard what she heard. She ran with it. I don't know. I feel like as a content creator, especially if you're going to be putting shit out on other people in terms of their reputation, their credibility, I do feel like there should be the standard for due diligence should be just a little higher than that. My opinion.
Is calling Kathy P a moron? Kathy P is.
So why don't you get on YouTube? I'll send you the number if you want. His name is Frank. You can call him and ask him if Uni Puss and Nonsense's grave sites had any flowers lately. I'll stop by there and drop some off and take a shit. Thank you.
In my opinion, Vada is just mad. She got called out and now she is
funny.
backpedaling. We all know Vada likes to do vile things in graveyards.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be a little bit petty here, and I'm going to take a little bit of issue with that. Like, okay, we all know by now that what they're referring to is the fact that Vada had to go to the bathroom. There's no privacy around, and there was a graveyard around. So she went to the bathroom in the graveyard. Not on a grave, but I don't think on a grave, but just she went there for the purpose of just pooping in the woods, basically. Why is that vile? Are you saying that every time one of us goes to the bathroom that we're doing vile things in there? I mean, I really hope that children don't hear you say this because, I mean, it's bad enough that we already have to have books like Everybody Poops. I mean, like, can we just not do that? I mean, it's not vile. Come on.
Did you just say she'd buy flowers and take a shit visiting somewhere?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, she did. What the fuck?
Yeah, she did. She's laughing at herself. She's making a mockery of something she did. She's joking with herself about herself. That's hilarious. I'm sorry that these guys missed the humor in that.
Well, we also knew that they'd be calling them. And if they really did their research and did what they needed to do to confirm things, I'm not going to do the legwork for them. Let them figure out who we called. We obviously did our job. So just because y'all didn't do your research or anything like that doesn't mean we're responsible for that.
Okay, so our job.
I kind of disagree with that. I mean, I get what she's saying. We shouldn't have to. She's right. We shouldn't have to. But it's not about proving shit to like Nonsense or Nanya or Kathy or whoever. It's about the viewers. It's about the people who are invested in the story. It's about the people watching and who want to know. So for that reason, I do think, especially if we're going to put out information that they want to know, if verification is called or asked for, then I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. However, in this situation, though, in order to verify that to the viewers, we would be putting out the name of the funeral home. And even if it was, I mean, it wouldn't be just people calling to confirm it for themselves. If that was the case, whatever, so be it. But there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's a good amount of people, I think, or a very vocal, very loud amount of people or group of people who are pissed off that the funeral home even just confirmed that he had passed. And that's what I fear. I fear those people going after the funeral home. This is the only reason why I am not putting out the name of funeral home publicly. But again, and this offer will not change. This is an unending offer. because it's about the facts. I offered this bit of information to Nunya. Hell, I'll even offer it to Kathy P. The name of the funeral home and the majority of the unredacted call. There's only one part I want to leave out, and that's the name of the person calling, because they don't need to catch any shit just because they were doing something. Just because they had enough wherewithal maybe to have that phone conversation. I don't want to put them on display. I don't even know them, but I don't want to do that. So minus that person's name, I'll share it all with you. I do humbly ask that you yourself make the decision to not put it out there publicly, because that'd be kind of messed up. However, if you do, then whatever comes from it falls on you, not on me, because I'm not giving this to you for any other reason other than for you to hear it for yourself, for you to do whatever you need to do to confirm it, and then state so publicly so that the people who hold your word in a higher regard than anyone else's here will hear you say that, and then they can rest easy. That's the only reason why I am even offering this to you. And this is also why it's unending. So there you have it.
Job is to do our research. Got it. In case Vada missed it, Kathy P. did her research, and Vada got caught in yet another lie.
You haven't been able to develop one.
If you're going to use someone's words against them like that, and there's confusion about the context or about what it is they're actually saying, then research would entail reaching out to that person.
See, ever, never, not ever. I can't name one of them. And, she was hating on, I was listening to Aaron's stream, and she was hating on Unirock, doing his new thing and starting a new thing about fraud raisers. Well, is he headed to interview your parents? You said that he's getting into, finding a good fraud raiser. You're a fraud, and they raised you, so.
Oh, wow.
You go low, I'll go low with you, baby. Your mouth is the only danger to your family. The only threat to your family is your mouth. So let's get that straight. If you ever hear me on anything, make sure it's that statement right there, because that is an absolute fact. She's threatening to take my channel down. So if this is my last stream, if it cuts off in the middle, you know what happens. If I am going down, I'm going to make sure it's worth it. And I'm going to make sure I say what I need to say. Girl, you got a lot of nerve. But you can go ahead and threaten me all you want. Go ahead and try.
Isn't your tube top? Shut up.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's really going. Okay.
Yeah, she's being ridiculous here. Did she just basically? I was gonna ask. Did she basically say that she was planning on trying to talk to Nonsense's parents? And is that my understanding?
She insinuated it at the very.
This is the problem I have with this conversation here. Snowy Big Snowflakes. All right, maybe that was out of line. All right. Why don't you rein back a little bit on your delicate sensibilities? I think that's more in line here. That's not what she said. She was saying, how is Unirock going to go and interview your parents, since he's all into investigating fraud raisers and they raised a fraud? That's what it's a play on words. It is. So she's not seriously suggesting anyone go and interview anyone's parents. Either way, even that, she's referencing someone else doing it, not herself. And the whole point of even stating this is to point out that Nonsense is a fraud. That's the whole point of it. So, but by all means, hear what you want to hear. Okay. And I understand how you can maybe be like, wait a minute, did I hear that right? Then just go back and rewind it. Listen. And I mean, there were even people in the chat saying, no, she was talking about Unirock. But even if she were talking about herself, it was figurative. For the purpose of setting up the punchline that Nonsense is a fraud. I mean, I thought it was pretty clever. I don't know. I'm sad that was missed on other people, though.
I was gonna say that's how I took it. I don't know though.
Because
that's fucked up if she did.
Yeah, like because in her mind, she thinks that Nonsense is a fraud, and
so you got that part. Why didn't you get the rest of it?
Because they raised her, so it's all right for her to talk to their parents and try to harass her parents and go for family members now. Is that an appropriate?
Even if she were talking about herself, the very fact that you took this literally blows my mind. That tells me that you might want to rein back your bias a little bit, Because had somebody else said this about somebody else, like say if somebody had said this, say if Heels in the Air had said this about Molly, you probably would have taken it as a joke. You would have heard the sarcasm. Okay. You would have gotten the figuratively part of it. And you would have seen that the whole point was to call Molly a fraud. Okay. You would have seen that. But if you're not able to see that here because it's Veda talking about nonsense, then you might want to ask yourself why. Either you have zero sense of humor. I'm sure you have some, so I don't think that's the case. Or you just, you wanted that to be what you heard. I don't know. Listen, and here's another thing too. Like, I get getting so wrapped up or whatever in some sort of debate or discussion or whatever argument that your initial reaction to things is to hope that this fucked up thing you're hearing about someone else is true, because then it'll prove you're right that person's fucked up. The thing is, though, is that if that person's fucked up, then it's because, or it gets showed that way with a victim, with someone being the butt of the fucked upness, the target that feels how fucked up they are. So just try to keep that in mind before you start wishing and hoping that you're right and thinking the worst of someone. Because if they're the worst, then the people around them are going to know it firsthand. And that's not worth it. Like, I'd rather be wrong.
She's going nonsense, a fraud, and her parents raised her. She tried to do like a little, you know what I mean, diss.
Oh my God. All right. I just wanted to make that clear. I just thought that I was mishearing.
Okay. Again, it's these. You either wanted to hear that, or maybe, I don't know, maybe your sensibilities are just a little bit too delicate here for YouTube. I don't know. It was clearly a joke, though. It's my only point. And I think that's all I really wanted to address on here. Real quick, though, I also want to remind people that when Veda was saying these things that we just heard her say, she was speaking in response to Nonsense's threat to have Veda's channel taken down for, quote unquote, like talking about her kids or whatever. When what Veda said was, you would think that someone who adopted their sister's kids would be more sympathetic to someone who gave their child up for adoption or let their child be put up for adoption, whatever. That's what she said. That's the only thing she said, the only thing she referenced. And now Nonsense is trying to turn that around and use that as a means to take down her channel because she's mad. There was no violation of terms of service here. So I'm not sure why Nonsense feels like her channel should be taken down and why she's making this threat. Seems like she's aiming to use and abuse the whole reporting system, the whole terms of service system and reporting on them on YouTube. She's attempting to exploit that because she doesn't like this channel. Okay, this next part, I'm going to be playing a portion of Bunny Foo Foo's live stream from the other day. But first, before I do that, let me ask you something. If someone you knew came to you and said, who is Marvin McRae? And what is all of this drama regarding Marvin McRae on YouTube? And you then had to explain this to them. Think about this for a second, how you would explain this to them. Now, regardless of what side or whatever it is you are on any of this, you are going to, okay, I'm going to explain this as kind of, I'm going to try to be like neutral here in the middle, okay? You would say, well, there was this creator, Dre, a very big creator on Facebook. She and her husband used to do a lot of live streams together. They've been a figure, on their channel, and their content had to do with just their lives, really, all kinds of stuff, and her sales in this one company and doing this and makeup skills and really just their lives. Then one day in May, her husband attempted to take his own life and ended up in a coma. And Dre didn't tell the audience for some time. And apparently she didn't tell his family either, because I guess they found out on social media and they became angry. And that was the start of all this. And then these other creators and stuff, these content creators became involved. And throughout this process, two of these creators started kind of beefing with each other. Well, in response to that, one of these creators then decided that Marvan's side of the family, who were invested in what was going on or whatever, oh no, Marvan's side of the family is alleged that they were unable to see Marvan, that Dre wouldn't let them. Whether or not that's true, whatever, but it stated that that's what they believed. So then when these two content creators started beefing with each other, one of them started accusing Marvan's side of the family as being scammers, being frauds, trying to raise money through GoFundMe's and other fundraisers or whatever, just trying to get people to give them money. And they alleged to have used this for a lawyer to facilitate visiting their son and for paying for a trip, but who knows, no receipt shown or whatever. So this just they kept fighting and battling out there for months or whatever. And then there was this death hoax and towards the end of the year, which turned out, he hadn't died, so it was a death hoax. And now this is being brought up again because it stated once again that he passed away. I think that that's pretty in the middle, right? I mean, not taking it one side over another. I mean, you could even argue this from the side of Dre if you want, but you're going to not leave out these important events along the way, right? Especially the whole she didn't notify the parents. Now you can sit there as you tell your story, you can sit there and say, well, she had reason to though. She wasn't in the wrong. And then you can state such reasons. But it doesn't change the fact that she didn't inform the family. That's my whole point. Okay. And then the not being able to see Marvan. You can sit there and say they were wrong. You can even say that they lied. But it doesn't change the fact that it was stated that they were of the belief that they were unable to see. They would not be allowed to see their son. And then you can also point out, like now, with the whole reporting of his death, you can sit there and say, but this is just like the death hoax back in November. You can word it any way you want, but you're not going to leave these parts out, is my whole point. And the whole point of her not confirming anything to his family right now, you're not going to leave that out. You can argue that she's got good reason, whatever. But when you tell your story, when you tell this story to help your friend or whatever, this person understand, you're not going to leave these things out, regardless of how you represent them. That's my point. Now let's listen to what Bunny Foo Foo has to say.
Some of you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys have been following this story. And I get it, Fox. Where do I even start? Some of it stems from last year. My goodness, almost 10 months ago, maybe a year ago now at this point. A story that creators were following of a man that was struggling with some mental health issues and made a decision to at that time he wanted to end his life. Okay. And they found him, they brought him to the hospital, and since then he has had like an injury. Okay. What happened here on YouTube was that this family, his wife, his children, everybody was severely harassed. They were doxxed. There were clips been put out there. I mean, it's just so much. There was a lot of fundraising that was happening for the family but the biological side family, the paternal side of the family, for there to be an attorney, and it was a clusterfuck of various things. A lot of this was spearheaded by two various creators. You had Katie Joy and Molly Golightly. It caused a huge divide here on YouTube. So much has happened since then. I thought this would be done when the police report was filed. There was so many people that called the police on this woman who was accused of basically doing something to her husband. You know what? Let me tell y'all something.
All right. So that ends Rabbit's wrap up of events. Wow. Now she's explaining this to people who admittingly, or at least allegedly, have little to no knowledge about the situation. Imagine that you asked about this situation and that's what you get told. I don't know. Like, that just seems awfully manipulative. you're not doing the truth any service. You're not doing those involved any service by leaving out parts of their story, parts of this story. You want people to understand, well, you have to give them the opportunity to. You have to give them the information in which to form an understanding on. You're not having any faith in your viewers or in people, really, in general. And I wonder why that is. Do you just think that the people you're relaying this information to just can't comprehend it? Or do you think maybe there might be something wrong with the position you've taken? And you worry that that will be discovered? Because, I mean, I can sit here and I can tell this story. I can tell this story as though I was telling it from like nonsense's perspective. I could tell the story coming from my own perspective. I agree with certain things and I disagree with certain things, but I understand the position nonsense is taken, and I can speak as though I can guess as to what she would say. So yeah, why not do that? I mean, even if you don't even have to speak about this from the other side's perspective. You can speak about it solely from your perspective, I suppose, though I don't recommend that if you want someone to reach a conclusion on their own rather than you lead them there like a horse to water or something. But leaving out bits of information, important parts, like, and even in the beginning of her relaying this event or the events that happened, she makes it sound as though YouTubers were following this man on social media because he had mental health issues, and then he ended up trying to take his own life. That's how it comes across to me. So, like, if you have no beforehand knowledge of the situation, you hear that. That's the conclusion you're going to come to. I don't know. I don't think that that's right, because that's not at all what happened. No one even knew about this until weeks after the attempt was made. I mean, when she's right from the beginning, when she starts explaining this to the person there in chat, she doesn't even mention the whole family finding out about their son being in a coma on social media. She doesn't mention the whole family had under the belief that they couldn't see, that the wife was going to allow them to see their son. How do you leave out the whole catalyst for this situation, the whole catalyst for the past year, when trying to explain the past year to someone? How do you do that? The whole reason why any of us are even here talking about this today is because of those two facts. Now, you can argue, you can explain them from either side, from either point of view, like I stated before. You can say that, oh, she had reason not to tell her, whatever. But how do you just leave that out entirely? Because that explains so much of why people care. Doing so just really, it comes off as though you believe you may be wrong in the position you take it on these 2 points of discussion with this whole situation. And if that's the case, but you're still presenting yourself as being on the other side of the argument or whatever, well, that's just dishonest. And if it's not the case, well, it's just dishonest to leave that out. And in the end part here, until a police report was filed, because so many people called or whatever on this woman, she makes it sound as if she's talking about the not a police report there from September. But then she says about her being cleared. What police report was filed against Dre? Like, I want to play that part again.
I thought this would be done when the police report was filed. There was so many people that called the police on this woman who was accused of basically doing something to her husband.
See, I hear police report filed, and I think that she's jumping to her assertion that the online complaint made against Letitia was a police report filed, and that lots of people called on it or whatever. But then she says that this woman did something to her husband. So she's talking about Trey. So again, I'm going to ask, what police report was filed against Dre? Because I know of a police report being created because of the events that happened in May when he attempted to take his life. I'm aware of that, but that wasn't filed. That was closed, but that wasn't filed. So I'm wondering what it is she's talking about. I feel like she's just getting parts of the story mixed up. No, I could be wrong. I could be wrong here. She could just be explaining a part of this very poorly, and which is probably most likely because she's explained most of it very poorly thus far. So I just want to point that out because that really bothers me. Even if you know it's not going to make you look in a positive light or in a very good light, don't fucking lie. Don't leave shit out. Because even whether you feel you are in a good light or not, whether you think you're right or wrong, when you start doing that, you come off looking like you know you're full of shit, whether it's true or not. So, but more importantly though, you insult your viewers. You insult people asking you questions. You insult them by you giving them inaccurate or incomplete answers. So hopefully that doesn't continue. Now, this last little part here, I just think it's kind of funny. So, okay. This is again from her stream she did the other day.
You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Just saying. I'm saying. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, sure. You can sit here and say that might be a little bit petty or whatever of me. But I don't think it is. Because for someone who started the stream off by saying that they're all about receipts and everything, and then they go on to talk about things without showing a single fucking receipt, but they keep saying how they're just saying, perhaps that's the problem. Perhaps maybe you should not prioritize just saying so much and prioritize by presenting more. Otherwise, you might just have to face facts someday that you're not about true crime, but you're a commentary channel, which, welcome to the club. That's all I got to say. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye. All right. Time for member shout outs. I'd like to thank
Love Louie, Jennifer Smith, Scorpio Joe, Lisa, Teresa, Sheila Marie, Dash X, Jess, Just Me Heather, The Crazy Lady, Anna, Raven Heart for You, The Butterfly Den, Country Girl Brenda, Stumbling In, Mama of Three, Dad Hi Guy, Nurse Linny, Cindy Holden, Jade's Palace, Kathleen to Snickers, Megan Broussard, Nana Hawk, Mandy, Peter Harrington, Pearl's Heart Kate, Nat B from Canada, Rizzo's Wife, Jujubee, Miranda, Lisa, Just Lisa, King Yukon, Feeling Kind of Breezy, Alexandra G, Straysky, Leah, Sally Godfrey, A Dizzle Phone Shizzle, bitch, Wanderlust, Ellie R, DC, Cheryl, Mousy Files, Dirty Uncle Sal, Leslie Correa, Jamie K, Sean Coffey, Maps Cat, Cheryl Tobiason, Michelle Caudle, Hush Puppy, Brenda Smith, channel has been deleted, Justin For All, Mimi Marie, KCG, Green Room 79, Chronically B Queen B, Jackie Snotty, Where Miracles Fly, Live Life Whimsically, Rena Rue, Estella Havisham, channel's been deleted, Crafty Florida Lady, Sakara Bear, Sue, Stay Positive, Moderate Extremist, Heather McDonald, Sassy Elmo, Reagan, Flying Mom Laura, Karma Kid 101, Berber, Tennessee Bell Mom, Bo Roundtree, Brilliant, Autistic Show, I'm Fucking Reagan, Osval, Totally Jane, Sue Elliott, Sunny D, Clearview, Jen Gerard, and Poodlerific.
Thank you all for joining, and thank you everyone for watching.